is like Las Vegas and places that are expensive to live, um, people with families, especially even single parents, uh, it's a lot. You got to work a lot just to make rent. Rent is not cheap, especially if you want to live in a quote unquote safer area, I guess, if there even is really. But, if you want your kid to go to the certain school. And that's another thing behind the money that follows the children that she was talking about, Christine was talking about. Well, what does that mean? Does that mean like the poor kids in the poor neighborhoods get left behind?
Yeah, that has been one of my issues with the vouchers, is that the people who already can afford to go to the private school will still get that money, and then what happens is part of the thing about it is if they had it where children were going to be accepted in some sort of school, regardless, that it was like, so if they took the vouchers and they said, like, if you decided you wanted to go to this public school instead, you could do that, and then there'd be an incentive for those schools to be up to some sort of standards, because there is an actual competition for the 5,000 per kid or whatever. But I think the way it would work out under the government and with the public school system is you would still get all the people that are already able to afford private schools. They would get accepted into the private schools. The public school kids would, by and large, stay in the public schools, but all that money that the kids in private school don't really need, they would be given to them. So basically it would make the schools even more underfunded, and most of the kids would stay in the public schools anyway, is the way it usually works with the voucher system through the government.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the vouchers this would work. From my understanding, you could not, like, I couldn't take the money because Kaya doesn't go to public school. They have to be actually going to public school now, or within the last year, I think. And then if you choose to homeschool them, you can take the $5,000, or you could put it towards, I don't even know if you could put it towards private school. I'm not sure. But like I said, a lot of people were saying there's a lot of strings attached to that. And even if you homeschool, you'll have to start sending in. Nevada's pretty lax with their homeschool laws. We're one of the lucky states. All you send in is like a piece of paper that says, I intend to homeschool my child. I'm going to do this grade. She's going to be in this grade, and this is what we're going to do. And it's pretty like a basic, like you just print off the basic, let's say 8th grade curriculum, and then send it in. And that's it. That's all you have to do, and you'll keep a copy of that form or whatnot. Other states are pretty strict. You have to send in what work you've done. You have to, log in. Some of them you have to go to certain hours at the public school. Like, it gets crazy. So I don't know what all strings are attached, and I'll try to see if we can get a hold of Alyssa Wall and have her on our show, because she will know.
Well, that's one of the things is going to happen, though, is the strings being attached. Because
yeah,
that's how they get, like, every school has to have 3 cops in the school, which I don't know if that's the actual policy, but, But, for example, if you don't, then you don't get federal funding. And the schools cave in immediately because, they're predicated on federal funding for a ton of stuff.
Yeah, just like their school food program. They get so much money for the school food program, but they cannot give that food. Like, what if they don't hand out? They cannot give that to the homeless or donate it. They have to throw it out because it was donated as federal money to them. That's so fucked up.
That's crazy. And there was a school that I used to live next to down the street a little bit, and they had people in the lunchroom, because I went and volunteered there once, and they put you on this, like, lunchroom guard, and you have to sit there and make sure children don't steal mustard and ketchup packets. And they found, like, children on Fridays, they would take mustard and ketchup packets, so they didn't have any food until Monday.
Yeah.
And they actually did start doing a lot of stuff through the school where they were, like, giving kids, like, basic clothes and having meals that they could have at the school. But they literally had us stand there and look to make sure a kid didn't take mustard or ketchup.
Yeah, that's fucked up. I think that's why I can't be a teacher. I couldn't say no. It's why I'm like not a veterinarian either. I'd have a house full of children and pets. Like
Right.
if I need a farm, because
Right.
I wouldn't be able to say no. I'd be like, yeah, have an apple. Fuck the packets. Like, let's pack you a bag to take home over the weekend. That's one of the things my friend Sarah, she posted on my wall that the Vegas Weekly did an article on how many starving kids we really do have in Nevada. It's crazy astronomical. And then the fact that the school's just throwing away food like that.
Yeah, and they're pretty much like the last one that should be doing that. Yeah.
Okay, back to Common Core. So what else did you find out in your discovery, Kelly?
Well, I really just think the thing that I saw was just the historical attachment and how it's really just an extension, another way of doing that. But I also saw like the stuff you had posted where it's about the storage of the data and everything.
Yeah, data is gold, and from what I understand, they want to track through school, and like Christina said, social and emotional tracking and testing and stuff like that. Well, those kind of tests, it's not just like, well, how does the color green make you feel? It's how do you deal with stress? What kind of social skills do you have? Are you a popular kid? Are you ADD? Things like that. They get money for all the kids that aren't quote unquote on point, and then all of those records will stay with them, all those testings in this data, and then it goes on. I believe it will go on into future, like when you're working and looking for a job and things like that, they'll be requiring your records like that, like they do a resume. That's where I see it going.
Well, I've also saw some where they've said that they've sell it to private corporations, so it goes back into the consumerism thing. So now they're
absolutely
they're figuring out which ads to give to each kid.
Well, I believe the system was called Smart Balance or something like that. There's a private, and that might not be it, but the Gates Foundation and all of them made some kind of entity. The government funnels this data through a private corporation. They make it. They have the, proprietary over it, and they get to keep the data. And like you said, they'll be using it for advertising to your family, to your kids, and who knows who else they will sell it to. They'll be able to sell it to anyone they want to. That could be a huge commodity, even in wars, like, information wars and whatnot.
Well, that's the other thing is they have like the ASVAB that you take when you're in high school, and all that is, it tells you what the best career for you in the military would be. Right. So it's also that it feeds the war machine, and it makes more people more supportive of what the government's doing. It also makes people more willing to go into the military. And the other thing is it wrecks the economy, which also makes it easier for people, or more likely that people will go into the military, because if there's less jobs, that's a guaranteed job.
In school. But half of them that go in for the free schooling don't actually take the schooling.
That's the other things, like poor children. That's the reason I joined the military originally, is because I thought I was going to get a bunch of benefits for school, and I would have been better off staying out and just working a job. I would have got way more. I could have saved more if I just based on what I would have made. Right. I could have paid to go through college.
Well, that's another thing. I think that they also, part of that data mining is to see what kind of person you are. If you're likely to believe the government propaganda, or are you going to be likely to be one that stands up and says, fuck you? Yeah.
And it's also, they classify like which job you're going to be at, or... And it also is like this guy's a troublemaker,
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And the other funny thing is, like, one of our friends who used to be a teacher actually brought up, like, if you're a teacher and you're looking for that information, so in theory that'd be the person that would be most able to use that, because they would evaluate the student and, in theory, figure out how to teach them, like, the most efficient way. But like, you can't even get that. Like, you find out somebody that has access to that was, laid off a year ago, and and nobody figured out where the stuff is. So, it's like the people with the most reason to have access for it have like the least access.
True.
But I guarantee you, the NSA has no problem with it. Because that was one of the things when Christina was talking, and she was like, nobody's listening to us. And I was like, the only part of the government that is actually listening to you is the NSA.
Hey, speaking of NSA, this is kind of off topic, but there is an NSA meeting at Clark County. I'll share that with you. But let's talk a little bit about what our schools do with lockdowns. Before we get into that, do we want to go to a break, or are we going to continue? Producer Dave. Okay, we're going to take a real quick break. We're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be right back.
Well, good morning. My name's Russ Swift. I'm a school resource officer here at the school, and I guess I'll show you guys what my normal day's like. Well, you look nice. How you doing, buddy? High five. Cheer up, but it's not the end of the world. It's halfway through the week. Usually what I like to do is I come in and I walk the halls and keep track of kids. And hey, Tyler, how you doing, man? You gonna play basketball next year? Come on, man. I need you. Anyway, I like to talk to kids, greet them, say hey, find out what they're doing. Sometimes I help them with homework a little bit. Yeah, just to make sure you know what to do about getting, okay, not a love note or anything good, so I can throw it away. So, I try to be friendly with them and try to get to know them good. Hey, guys. How you doing, buddy? All right, go put your stuff away. We've got about 650 kids here, and most of the stuff really at junior high is usually somebody hit me or somebody took my stuff, or iPods get stolen, cell phones get stolen, a lot of bullying, harassment, intimidation type stuff. How you doing? Let me see what you're listening to. Let's do an oral check here.
Oral check?
Yeah. What do you got? Give me something. Give me your best shot. Give me something you think I'll like.
You gotta know this one.
Haha, you rock, dude. David Bowie, good man. All right. That's good. How's it going? You ready? Where's that tie?
What?
Where's that tie at?
Oh, I need to give you a note.
Sometimes there's traffic issues out here. I've tried to get people trained not to pull up out there on the busy street to let kids off, but it still happens from time to time. Occasionally there might be a traffic accident. We had one a couple months ago where a kid on a bicycle got hit out here by the front thing, but he didn't get hurt. I'm going to give you a statement form and have you just write that down for me, okay? And I will call up a picture of him and get him down here, and I'll talk to him about it today. Your parents know about it? So that last deal with that student was basically a telephone harassment. Another student sent her kind of a threatening text on her phone, and I've been talking to him about using telephones to harass and annoy and stuff. So she had a previous incident, so I'm going to take a report probably now and document it, and I'll have to talk to the other kid. Kind of hard not to notice it, okay? What we're going to do right now is I'm going to do a class on laws, rules, and responsibility. We're going to talk about the Bill of Rights and Constitution, little bit, and amendments and stuff like that, so how it affects laws. Responsibility and laws and rules, our rights to privacy, property, and basically our personal protections under the Constitution. If you know your American history, they risked everything, literally everything, to tell King George and the British to go pound sand. What do you like to do? I know you're a driver now. If you're guilty of something, the government can't make you tell them you're guilty. Hey, this is Officer Swift. This is for the 9th graders. Just if you guys could listen up for a second. I know you're thinking about getting your driver's licenses. Just be responsible, do it safely, and protect your privilege. And come and see me before you drive to school. Thanks. I'm getting ready right now to go pull a student from class that got in trouble on a field trip yesterday and had a little bit of a meltdown.
have a little talk with her about behavior, making choices and stuff, then get her back to class.
So you have